You want to know the quick way to launch your career as a film director? Yeah? Yeah? All right, keep watching. This is part 1 of a quick start guide to becoming a film director. Okay, something you need to know right off the bat. Directing movies, commercials, television, documentaries, it is not an easy job. To do it right, you put a lot of stress on your shoulders. It takes a lot of management and communication skills and vision. Vision! Vision. If you're ready to take that on, then let's have at it. So first, we should break down the idea of what a film director is. Typically, the film director is considered the creative force behind some kind of motion picture piece of content or piece of art. The debate for what is considered art and what is not is something that I believe should be left for another discussion, conversation, arguments. The idea to focus on here is that a film director is the creative linchpin for creating a story through the use of motion. So let's build some context. Let's take a look at some areas where a film director might work. There are actual jobs that a film director does in order to get a paycheck for their work. The film of film director may be swapped out for another term depending on the application, but it does really come down to the type of content that is being made. Okay, the job in essence is the same for each one of these scenarios. Typically, when someone mentions that they are a film director, they are talking about directing feature-length movies. Movies that are released in theaters, video on demand, DVD, or TV broadcast, the big tentpole events. Maybe not tentpole, but you get the idea. So TV director is possibly it's also included in the film director because the story type is similar to a feature-length film. The biggest difference here, though, is the length. TV is usually shorter, like episode versus feature. Story structure differences are that the runtime of an episode is usually much shorter than a feature-length film. Now, length is not the only difference, though. Creative direction is not necessarily determined by the director. A showrunner is really the creative force behind a TV series. So, if you really want to go into TV, work your way to becoming a showrunner. Commercial directors. Now, a commercial director does exactly what it sounds like. They direct commercials. Commercials are very lucrative if you can set yourself up in a unique way and start building those relationships, very relationship heavy. And a lot of film directors are also directing commercials. Remember the infamous Aaron Burr Got Milk commercial? Well, it was directed by our favorite Make It Explode director, Michael Bay, when he was still in school at the Art Center in Pasadena, California. The late Tony Scott would direct commercials between films to experiment with filming styles. The turnaround for commercials is so much quicker than the movie that it allows you to make multiple style and genres of commercials in the time it takes to prep a movie. Tons of space for experimentation in commercials. Then there's the documentary director or filmmaker. The uniqueness of this career path for a director is that many times the director of a lot of documentaries is also the cinematographer and producer, maybe the editor, all of those things. A documentary is its own unique beast, but making one makes you no less a director than working on a scripted film. Tons of work. I've done both. Then there's the short film director. And this is really only in here because I mentioned that a film director works on feature length or long form films. Well, I would argue that a short film director and a film director are really kind of the same thing. The types of projects are very similar, and now there are viable revenue streams for short film content that didn't exist when I was starting my career. It's like a short film was money down the drain or portfolio building. The production schedule is the main difference here. A short film usually is classified as anything roughly around less than 40 minutes long. Confusing way to say it, but they're shorter. So if you're doing a longer short film, there is a chance you might spend more than 20 days shooting it. Now, for perspective, that is longer than my first feature. I did that in 15 days. So just because it's a short film, don't discount the effort that's involved in making it. So now that context has been given, the next major point that needs to be made is there's a mindset you need to train yourself to have. And to take this approach of becoming a film director, it needs to have the proper mindset. Now, what does your mind say? Have you ever really thought about that? What is your mind saying? Is it saying, oh, I'm not good enough? Well, you need to have a growth mindset and you need to believe that your dreams are possible. Having a growth mindset puts you in the position of being ready to learn at all times. So always be learning mentality. Don't be afraid of criticism, but instead use that criticism to fuel your desire to improve, to get better. Now, just because you aren't making a hefty income from directing projects doesn't mean you're not a film director. The journey to becoming paid is long and takes a lot of effort. Believing you are what you do is a major step in progressing your career. If you've made any kind of film and you aspire to make more, turning filmmaking into a career, then claim it. You are a film director. But you have to actually direct to call yourself a director. The same goes for writing or acting or anything. I will never claim I'm a neurosurgeon because I've never performed neurosurgery. I have smart in-laws that can do that for me. I will stick to the art stuff. In part 2, we get to some actual steps you can take to claim that title of a film director. So subscribe, ring the bell, like all the things, so you don't miss it when it comes out. That would be a tragedy, right? That being said, I will see you in the next one.